Eliot, good to have you back, buddy.
Feels good to have everybody back.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it's 2 weeks of I was off, then you were off, but football's back, so we're back.
Yeah, the players report today, and first practice is tomorrow. You guys get to watch that tomorrow, I guess?
So, I mean, my time of year. This is my favorite part of the football calendar. Better than the playoffs, the regular season. Training camp for me is my time.
Ridiculous.
It's my favorite time of the year. The playoffs are fun, but training camp is a different level.
Yeah.
Super Bowl was cool.
But he owns training camp.
Training camp is my time.
Go into the store later, get, pen.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this about Jaylen in camp this year.
Yeah.
Because, he set the record last year.
Yeah, 305.
For most pass attempts without an interception, a record that he broke his own record.
Correct.
But you mentioned a bunch of times last year that, and you said this during camp or whatever, that there were a lot of safe throws last year, a lot of checkdowns, things like that. And we would guess that this year they'll probably want to open the offense up a little bit, and have a better passing attack, maybe score more points. Do you think, going into this, would you rather see Jaylen have a training camp like he did last year, or would you rather see him fail more trying to do more? Because this is the time that you try to figure things out.
If we're talking about just practice, I can see the argument for that, but I'm okay if Jaylen plays the exact style of football he did last year this year. It is a winning formula. If he doesn't turn the ball over, they win. So I don't have a desire to see them air it out this year, to throw it deep. I think they will do that, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm not going into this season or practice tomorrow. If he's dinking and dunking it again, but he's going 180 passes without an interception, 100, that would be a successful camp for me. So I do not have a desire to see a different Jaylen this year.
Why?
Because they won the Super Bowl with him playing that way.
But in part because of the other parts around him played at such an exceptional level.
Right. But
So here's what I'm saying. Unless you're expecting Saquon to have the same sort of season he had the last year, how can you not expect Jaylen to at least be a little more impactful and significant in the passing game than he was a year ago?
So obviously if they don't run the ball as well next year as they did last year, then he'll have to throw more.
Do you think that can be duplicated? That was a historical season last year.
Now, they can still run for X amount of yards, but Saquon gets 1,600 of them, and Will Shipley has 400. So they could do it in different ways. But I do think we also undersell a little bit how big Jaylen was in situational football last year. So on third downs, red zone, he was really good last year. So for me, and where I'm taking your question is on first and second down, what the difference has to be. And yeah, maybe they're going to have to throw it more. But ultimately, I look at this team, and I think the defense and the running game, all that was great. The reason they won was because they took care of the football. If the Eagles take care of the football, they will beat most teams they play because they just have more talent than most of them. So I'm not truly not taking anything away from the defense, but by not turning it over, the defense was not in a lot of bad situations last year, right? It's complementary football. So maybe on first and second down, they should throw it more. They were dead last in the league in doing it. So obviously you want to do it a little more. Yeah. But I don't think they need to change the offense next year.
Well, the offense will change.
It will.
We're getting a new offensive coordinator, and I would imagine they want to throw the ball more.
I think they're going to throw it down the field more.
Yeah,
is going to be the change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I'm agreeing with you.
I know.
Yeah.
But you put a safety net in there, which I don't like. Because your thing is, well, if this is what they have to resort to, then I'm fine with it. Yeah, we all would be as long as they win.
Yeah.
But what if that's what they have to resort to and they don't win? And
that would be bad. If they have to throw, I agree with you.
Yes.
If they have to throw it more and Jaylen is not good at doing that, will obviously be very concerning. So,
or more importantly, I would say, if you're saying you don't think he needs to do anything more than what he did last year, which would be they run the ball 30 times a game, 30-plus times a game, and he's throwing the ball, that's my point is that if that's not successful, then you automatically have to expect him and the passing game to do more.
Well, I do think defense are going to come out this year more keyed in on Saquon, obviously. We saw that in the last two games.
Yes.
But in those games, Jaylen threw the ball really well. So if he has to throw it more, I don't have a concern that he won't be able to do it.
That's fair.
So to Spike's point about if I'm watching camp and every day it's 7 yards, 8 yards, 12 yards, I'm fine with that. I don't think Jalen needs to come out and play differently. So if I see the exact same training camp, obviously it won't be historic. I'd be pretty surprised. But if I see the exact same training camp from Jalen this year that I did last year, I'll be perfectly okay with that.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Because that was such a historic training camp last year for him.
Probably never be broken.
Well, here's what I hope will be broken, whatever that formula was. Because you know why? It looked like crap the first 4 weeks of the season. Let me speak.
Mm-hmm.
As great as he was in training camp, that didn't translate through the first 4 weeks of the season. And the offense changed. So when you say you want to see the same thing he did as last year in training camp, it's easy to jump to the end of the season and look at what happened.
Right.
But what happened in training camp was an indicator of what happened early in the season that needed to be changed. So what you saw at the end of the season wasn't a product of what was happening in training camp. What you saw at the end of the season was a product of adjusting to a run-first offense, play action pass, take shots only when necessary. That wasn't the case coming out of training camp, of this historic training camp that he had last year. So I would say, while it's okay to have great completion percentage numbers in practice and you give us all these stats that we can't see, I would venture that the Eagles, if they had it their way, I'm not saying to the detriment of the team, but I'm saying if they could have it their way, you want to push the ball down the field in chunks.
Yeah, I agree. Nick Sirianni's
Saquon touched the ball 500 times last year. We don't need him to touch the ball 30 times a game this year.
So Nick's whole philosophy since in my time covering him is he wants to win the big play battle, not allow a lot of big plays on defense and make a lot on offense. So I agree with you. And especially now with his guy next to him, I think you will see them try to create more chunk plays on offense. Mm-hmm. And before I say this, let me couch it by, I agree Jalen was not good enough in the first 4 games last year. Full stop. He turned it over too much. He was not good enough. But I also think there is some nuance there where AJ didn't play in 3 of those games. In one of those games, he didn't have Lane, Devontae, or AJ.
I don't even count that game.
Right, so that's a fourth of it right there. But he didn't play well enough. I agree. I think that if Jalen takes care of the ball, they'll be fine. It's really that simple.
It's so funny. Like, I really don't want to do this, but like,
don't do it.
I mean, football's back. Why wouldn't we?
Well,
do it?
Don't do it.
Here's my point here. My point is you're not allowed to say he's good because everybody around him's good. But when he doesn't play good, you are allowed to say that those players aren't there. So, like, which one is it? Is it that he's good because the other players are good, or are we going to couch every time they don't score points but say, well, AJ wasn't there? Like, so which one is it?
So I have said to you guys,
if he's the second best quarterback in football, which is what you say, right?
Yeah, I think he's on the way to the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so if he's on the way to the Hall of Fame and the second best currently, the second best quarterback in football, wouldn't you say that in situations when those other great players aren't all there for him, that he should raise his level of play and make up for them not being there instead of apologists like you coming on the radio and saying the reason that he didn't play well is because those players weren't there? Which one is it?
So I have said to you guys that I think Jalen is definitely a product of being on the Eagles. If Jalen went to the Cleveland Browns, like most quarterbacks, I think he would fail. So being with the Eagles absolutely raises, much like it raised Saquon, it raised AJ. I've never really said he's good without the talent. Clearly the talent helps him. And I agree with you. When he played poorly against Tampa, I ripped him after that. When they don't have their guys, they should be better. So I agree with you on that. My only counter would be, it is a small sample size. So, when people say, how would he be without AJ and Devontae? Yes, when they have not had him. Now, in 2021, he did overachieve for what it's worth. But there's not been a long stretch without it. So I just don't know how he would be without them. But I agree.
The numbers aren't good when AJ's not there.
Correct, but here's the thing about when AJ's not there.
Like a bottom 10 quarterback, that's what his numbers are like.
But I think that those numbers deserve some context. In 2021, he was essentially a rookie, and in the 3 years since, it's been 1 game, 2 games. It's not like we've seen this version of Jalen for 7 games without AJ.
But
that's just true. You can disagree with it.
But last year made him the second best quarterback in football because of 2 games. essentially.
No, it wasn't just 2 games. He was good. No, but see, this is where we disagree.
Yeah.
He was better during the regular season, in my opinion, than you think he was. He made big plays throughout the year. He took care of the ball, which is a huge part of it. He does help the running game. I know now no one ever wants to talk about what he does as a runner for some reason, but it does matter. So he was, even if you want to remove the last 2 games, he was probably a top 10 or 12 quarterback last year if you remove the final 2 games. But when you include the final 2 games, then yes, those last 2 games matter more than all the other ones combined.
Oh, and they don't.
They absolutely do.
No, they don't.
Ask Donovan McNabb how much more the plaplayoffs matter than the regular season.
I went back.
You don't need to catch strays.
Yeah,
it's not about you.
I went back.
We all agree you were great. It's McNabb that doesn't.
The year after Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl, he was ranked like 7th, 8th in the league. So he won the Super Bowl.
He did.
Yeah. So winning the Super Bowl doesn't make you the second best quarterback, and those 2 games don't mean more than the other games. Just that same reason, you wouldn't rank Nick Foles the second best quarterback in football after.
Well, no, but Nick
won the
Foles
Super Bowl.
didn't start for the whole season, and Nick Foles hadn't been to a previous Super Bowl.
But he still played great in the NFC Championship
and that's
game
why
and the Super Bowl.
that's why you, I think, said Nick Foles was the best quarterback in franchise history for a stretch. Didn't you have the opinion that he was the best quarterback? Or am I wrong about that?
Well, no, I didn't say he was a better player than Donovan.
No, but didn't you say he deserved to be viewed as the best quarterback in franchise? Am I wrong?
I
could be.
think you're right.
Right, so if you said Foles is the best off of 4 games, that would seem to back up the Jaylen
I
thing.
didn't say Foles is the best.
Okay, so maybe I'm wrong about that.
So no, what I would have said is Mount Rushmore because he was the first quarterback. But
again, that's proof that those games just matter way more. Foles was
that
not
also
good.
was the first.
It was the first Super Bowl.
Right, but Foles was
and
not.
The story was different.
Foles was not good against Atlanta. Foles was not good against Oakland in those final games. Right, so Foles really only played 2 good games, and I guess that Giants game,
Minnesota. Minnesota.
He had 2 really good games
against the Giants. He was.
He was, and he was good against them. But it was just 2 games for Foles.
Yes, but I never argued he was the second best quarterback in football. That's my point.
But the difference is Jaylen has been one of the best quarterbacks in football for 3 years.
He's been one of the best quarterbacks in football for one of the last 3 years.
No. Over the last 3 years, Jaylen has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
One of those years.
If you compile the resumes
of those years.
No, but that's not true.
They're 3 separate seasons. He
no,
wasn't
I know,
last
but I'm
year.
saying, as we often do with players, like over a stretch of time, he has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
They're 3
and Foles
separate
never
seasons.
did that. But Foles never did that.
3 separate seasons.
They are separate seasons.
He
but
was great one of those years.
No, he was great
One
2
of
of those years,
No,
I would
one.
say.
One.
Okay, well, I disagree with that. But regardless, over a 3-year stretch, he clearly has been one of the most accomplished and best quarterbacks.
Accomplished. Okay. All right.
I don't know what the difference between accomplished and great and better is. You don't accomplish things by luck.
Yes, you do. You know the difference between accomplished and best.
But the way you phrase it is almost like he's just been along for the ride. And I don't think
But that's not what I said.
No, I know, but when I say he's accomplished and you agree with that, but then you don't agree he's been one of the best quarterbacks, I don't get. So what's the difference for you there? Like
how
why
he plays.
Correct. So you think they've won almost in spite of him.
The only thing you put on the accomplishment list is winning games. And if that is the only thing that matters, then yes.
But is that crazy? You act like I'm up here saying he's one of the best because he has one of the best QBRs or something. Because I'm talking about winning games.
That's fair.
All right. Because it's not a single person sport. You're smart enough to know
No,
this.
I know, but I'm not inventing the quarterback win-loss record, right? It has been on Pro Football Reference for years.
Real. That's not real.
Now, for what it's worth, Spike, I would just say, me and Ike have argued this since Carson. So this is not just a Jaylen thing. I've always been a quarterback win-loss guy.
And by the way, as a Carson guy, I still was quarterback wins don't really.
But it's not like I'm not inventing some new way to judge quarterbacks. We always judge them off wins and losses.
I will say this in your defense. I don't think it's in a vacuum you judge it. Over time, I do believe winning matters from a quarterback standpoint.
And
yet,
that matters over a period of time.
There's not a lot of quarterbacks that we consider great that don't win.
Right.
But what most of them, you can look and say in addition to their wins, you can look at their body of work, which is statistics, and say that they were great. There's not a ton of quarterbacks that throw for 40 touchdowns and 10 interceptions or whatever and are like, oh, they never win any games. It doesn't happen.
Right, because if your quarterback's good, you win a lot of games. And the Eagles have won a lot of games.
Well, yes, but there have been plenty of teams that have won with quarterbacks that are not great.
Not really.
Well, sure.
In all seriousness, I can't
Joe
think of
Flacco played the best in the best games, in the biggest games, right?
Here's where I disagree with you, Spotty, on this. In a short window, whether it's 6, 7 games or a year, if it's a 1-year thing, not over a 3 or 4 year period, you don't have a list of quarterbacks that have won consistently that wouldn't be viewed as one of the top quarterbacks. Over a short period of time, sure, but over a 4-year span, that quarterback, if he's winning, he's going to get credit for those wins.
Sure, yes. I'm not saying he's not a winning quarterback.
Like Russell Wilson won over that period of time. At first it started off, it was Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch.
But nobody considered him elite until he performed in an elite way during the regular season without that.
But I also think, too, that Jaylen for 3 years has not just won, he's won a ton. Like, he wins 80% of his starts. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. So I'm not sitting here and going, they're 10-6, they're winning games. Like, the defense I'm making of Jaylen is that he wins all the time at a large rate. And so that has to, in my opinion, I value the quarterback too much for me all of a sudden go, well, they're winning all the time, but the quarterback's only okay.
So in games last year where he didn't start, they're undefeated, right? Just check.
They were 1-0. And then in the other game,
they were 2-0. They're 2-0.
Yeah, they were 2-0.
They were 2-0.
What 2 games?
The final 2 games of the year.
Oh, okay. Well, the final game.
And by the way,
they're still in Washington if Devontae catches the ball.
Yeah.
Well, they beat Atlanta if Saquon catches it. So we can go both ways. But we saw against Washington actually perfect proof of why I think I'm right about Jaylen. The difference in that game was the interception that Kenny Pickett threw when they gave him the ball at like the 8-yard line.
No, the difference in the game
is that Devontae dropped the ball.
But it doesn't get to that if there's no turnovers. It's just a reality. Kenny Pickett handed them 7 points.
But my only point is that, and I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm mostly on with you here.
Right.
But to be fair, a quarterback can have a bad play early, overcome that, and you go win the game.
I agree, but
just like they did in the Super Bowl.
That's like Jaylen with the fumble in the Super Bowl.
But I've always crushed
and he threw an interception in the Super Bowl as well.
I've always
this past year.
I've always crushed Jaylen for that fumble in the first Super Bowl.
But it didn't cost them the Super Bowl.
But I think it does. I think it did. I think they lost the 2022 Super Bowl because of the Jaylen fumble. Yes, that's my belief.
You're in the minority.
I know I am, but it's my belief, and
but that's
it syncs up with everything else I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yes.
But that's a belief to drive another point.
I said it at the time.
Hold on, but it doesn't stand on its own because you're the only one who really believes that.
I know.
So that's to drive a different point. No one says, looking back at that Super Bowl, Jaylen cost in the Super Bowl by fumbling the football.
I agree the majority of people don't say that. Yeah. I'm in the minority. I agree with that.
Yeah,
but in that Super Bowl, if he holds on to that ball, they win. I think they win that game.
Possibly. I'm just saying I don't think the fumble
they might have been up 17 points instead of 10.
So
okay.
Well, that's a big deal. They lost by 3.
He also turned the ball over early in the Super Bowl this year.
That's another good point. Yeah. They turned the ball over in this Super Bowl.
You're right. They did.
And they didn't lose.
Agreed.
So
I'm saying if Jaylen doesn't turn that ball over, I think they win in 2022. Obviously, we can't prove it one way or the other. But the difference is they're driving with the ball, right? To go up 17, the offense is clicking at that point.
Here's why you're wrong. Because if he doesn't fumble the ball, it's just a tackle for loss and a punt.
True.
It was third down.
But
it was third down. So if he doesn't fumble the ball, it doesn't mean the game is over and the Eagles win is the point that I'm really making.
But Kansas City was handed 7 points.
Sure they were.
Correct.
Well,
yeah.
Doesn't mean they couldn't get stopped in the second half, so they were scoring regardless.
They were getting stopped in the first half. It was the second half.
Yeah, no, this was towards the end of the first half.
The defense was still playing well at that point.
The defense didn't play well the entire game. At what point?
The first half, the defense was awesome against Kansas City. I think they only let up 1 touchdown.
My only point is that I don't believe that fumble cost the Eagles the game. That's the only point.
And we don't have to relitigate 2022.
Jaylen played way too great in that game to have that play be the signature play of the game and says he cost him the Super Bowl. I don't buy that. And you don't buy that.
No, I do buy it. I said it at the time. Me and Angelo yelled at each other for like an hour on the radio about it. But the point I'm making is...
Well, you could have grown from that by now.
Well, that's what I believe. But the point I'm making is I'm not just saying this win-loss thing and turnover thing because it fits my Jaylen narrative. It's always what I've believed. So for me, when there is a quarterback on the Eagles that doesn't turn the ball over and wins all the time, I am going to view him as better than it seems some people on the show do.
Okay. And you're also going to make excuses for him when the other players aren't there.
I'm not making excuses, but it's just a reality.
No, you did. You made excuses.
It's not an excuse.
Well, if you want to be an elite player, you have to raise your level when those players aren't there.
And it was 3 games. It's not been a long stretch of him. You're right. He didn't do it. You're right.